my project, what I'm doing, a lot of this came out of thinking there are people on the right and the left that don't have this relationship with the other side, that don't see how complicated that is. I think primarily because of their lack of exposure to uh, good thinking on the other side. They end up with a very simplistic view where it's a pretty natural conclusion that either your opponents are acting in bad faith
Hmm.
or are just kind of dumb.
Idiots. Yeah, they're idiots. Yeah, that's the
And,
danger that
and
into thinking of
yeah,
is either fools or frauds.
right, exactly. And I see that on both sides, and so this is something that has always kind of been front of mind for me because as someone that grew up in Utah, but politically did not go along with the dominant culture, and then went to UVA, which is a more conservative law school, but certainly is still more liberal than conservative, and then went to New York City, where I meet people for the first time that have having grown up in the city and having gone to these great liberal dominated schools on the East Coast, you have genuinely never had a conversation with a social conservative that about socially conservative things. They didn't know they were talking to a social conservative if they were. And so you end up just really not able to understand how someone could possibly reach this foreign alien conclusion on an issue that is so obvious to you. And I think what I'm doing, there's two primary purposes. One of which is to enable, granted at a much lower and simplistic and less well-read level, what you have with Dr. West. But then the second part of it, of what I'm trying to do, is that I think, not knowing why other people think what they think in their terms. You can say that they believe that because they're a hillbilly or because they're a bigot or racist or communist or whatever epithet you want to use. It strengthens your ability to make arguments. If you actually know why the other side thinks that, either we should or should not have gay marriage, you're going to be able to make an argument that they can understand, or you're going to have a better chance at making an argument they can understand, which will either, which will hopefully lead to the outcome either that they respect your position more or that they actually take your position. And I would be interested to hear, because so you have this experience with Dr. West where you don't move each other a lot. You just really increase the respect you have for each other, and you both really understand the arguments on both sides. Do
Well,
you
and you
have
deepen your understanding of the issue.
right?
The example I gave you of Cornell's influence in my on my thinking on race is that I think I've got a much deeper understanding of the issue than the relatively superficial one with which I began.